When do I stop and when do I keep going? That is such a big question, and I think ultimately it is the ultimate dichotomy because you have two truths at the same time, and you have to determine which is the right path for you to follow right now. Because on one hand, you have it is true that you are digging yourself a hole and you don't want to keep digging it deeper because you're going to get yourself into more trouble. That could be true. That saying is 100% true. Don't keep digging when you're digging yourself a hole because you're just digging yourself a deeper hole. That is 100% true in certain circumstances. And then on the other hand, you have the exact same story, digging the hole, and you keep digging and digging and digging, and you give up. And you give up 1 foot before you dig and you find the gold or the diamonds. Whatever version of the story that you've heard. So those two situations of digging a hole is the ultimate dichotomy. When do you know when to stop because you're just getting yourself into more trouble? And when do you know when to keep going because you're so close and you're almost there and you can't give up because you're right there? So to be upfront, I don't have the answer. There's no, because they're both right in different circumstances. But what I want to do is I want to give you a few things to think about and a few ways in which you can hopefully find your answer. Now, I've done hundreds of thousands, like $600,000 online in online business. And since I was 18, I've been in online business for 5 years, social media for 5 years for myself, for others, ads, organic, all this stuff. And so I've done many different things, and I've been in both of those positions. When do you just keep digging yourself a hole and then you just draw a line, enough's enough, dig yourself a little stairs into the ground in the hole that you're in and climb out? And when do you keep digging because you're so close and you're right there and you're so close to that gold or that diamond, whatever version of story you've heard? So there's a couple things that you want to think about with that, and a few things that I've learned in that time and doing the things that I've done, that this will hopefully help you come to the decision of they're both true, which one is going to be true for you in the circumstance you're in. Now, the first thing that I would do is talk to peers. So talk to peers in regards to people who are actually your peers, not peers who have, if you're in an entrepreneurial journey, and you go and talk to your friends who have jobs, they're not the right people to ask. Talk about people who are your peers. That means if you're building a business, talk to other people who are in similar positions in business and or are just a few steps ahead of you. If you go talk to people too high up, it might be some people might be able to help you, but some people, it might be so far gone for them that it was too long ago, it was decades and decades ago, and they don't remember the exact situation to help you with that thing. They may be in a situation where if it's you need general advice, you can go higher up. But if you need more specific advice, go to your peers. Now the other part is go to higher up people who are more higher level mentors in your life. And if you don't have those, I would encourage you to go find those. That's something that I've been really been on my heart and on my mind the last couple months. But really the last 1 to 2 weeks is I've been really thinking and then also taking action. That's the most important part, right? That's what I want to get people to do on this channel, is to take action. Because so many people just talk about things and complain about things and they never do anything about it. So let's take action, right? So I was thinking about it. It was on my heart. It was on my mind. And so then I was like, all right, so let me take action. Let me talk to these people. Let me talk to these guys, these business owners, these people who are successful in social media, these people in my church, my father. Let's talk to these guys who are many steps and many decades ahead of me. Because where I'm at right now, I need to go more general. So I'm going to go higher up the ladder. When I'm dealing with stuff with Facebook ads, right? I'm going to my friends who are in e-commerce who are a few steps ahead of me because they were there recently. So you have to determine where you're getting your advice and where you're getting your information from. If you're listening to me, that's why I told you, here's what I've done, here's my time frame. You know, I'm 23 years old, I've been in online business for 5 years since I was 18. Like, I told you that so you can determine, all right, for where I'm at right now, should I listen to him or should I not? And if you need to go get more general advice and someone who's older and wiser and who has been doing business for 40 years, don't listen to me. But for some of you, I'm exactly who you need to listen to or consider. Or, by listen to, I don't mean like take my direct advice word for word, but I mean take what you can and get out of it and take those gold nuggets. So that's the main thing there. How do you, where do you go to find that advice? And you have to determine where you're at in your journey and what kind of problem you're solving. Are you solving a big, general, large problem? Go higher up. If you're solving a specific problem in your business, in your life, specific problem that's more niche, go to people of your peers who you surround yourself with that are a few steps ahead of you, and you need to find answers from them by talking to them. So that's a big thing in regards to where do you go to get advice. Now, when do you stop and when do you keep going? You have to think of a couple things. You have to think of your situation. Do you have people dependent on you? Are you a husband, a father? Do you have other people dependent on you? Is it just you? If it's just you, you have a lot higher risk tolerance. You're able to take bigger risks. And that's a blessing to be young and single because you have a very high risk tolerance. If it doesn't work out, guess what? You can just go get a sales job, make a bunch of calls and make money. You'll be fine. So you can go learn that skill or take that skill that you already have and go make money with it, and you'll be fine. So you have a higher risk tolerance. You have the ability to take those big risks and take those big leaps, and that's great. And I want to make another video talking about that, how taking calculated risks and can actually bring blessing from God. I do believe that because he needs people to be bold and to take risk and to take action and further the good side on the battle of good and evil. So we'll get into that in another video, but you have very high risk tolerance the younger you are and the more and the less responsibilities you have. So you have to determine your risk tolerance. You also have to determine, okay, what is my timeline here that I'm working with? What skills do I have that I'm working with? And when you contemplate all these things, you go get advice from those people, like I said, respectively, higher up or lower down, just a few steps ahead of you. Talk to them about your situation. Say, hey, when you were in a similar situation to me, did you have to keep digging? And you have to keep digging, and then eventually you got it, and it was a time thing, it was a patience thing. That's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm in a very patient season. I'm having to be very patient. It's incredibly difficult because I'm not patient. But that's a skill that I have to learn. And so God isn't just going to bless me with patience. He's going to bless me with a situation that requires patience being built and learned. Because that's the only way that we're going to learn things. Right? It's like if you hear about something or you read something or you see something, you take it in. But if you learn something and then you do it yourself, you put that thing that you just learned to action, then you actually remember it. Then you actually learn the lesson. So God isn't just going to give you patience. He's going to give you a situation which requires patience, which requires you to either fail or build that muscle of patience, and then you get blessed with patience. Or you fail and then you're going to have to learn it another way. So when do you stop and when do you keep going is very specific. And if you're in a position where you have a high risk tolerance and you talk to your peers and you're able to keep digging and keep digging and keep digging, and then you hit that gold, great. But if you, and I want to give you a few examples which we'll jump into next so you can really wrap your head around that, right? Like apply that knowledge and then you can understand what I'm talking about. But if you are in a hole and you're just digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole, those people that you go to advice for, and when you contemplate the situation as a whole, you're going to be able to learn that, okay, I am in a hole and I'm just digging myself deeper. Now, where this comes into play with the tangible examples is, think about this. When someone's making music, right? And they just keep making music and nothing hits. And then finally they get that viral hit and they make a ton of money for that, and that makes their career. Right? And so it's like, if they were to just be like, oh, I'm just digging myself deeper in a hole here, I gotta stop, I gotta give up. And they stopped, and that's when they stop 1 foot from gold, 1 foot from diamonds. Because they didn't get that viral hit. In another example, I did TikTok Shop affiliate for like 6 months. And guess what? I had probably a dozen videos that made me all the money. But I posted I don't even know, in 6 months I probably posted 400 videos, maybe 500 videos. And 12 of the videos made me tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I think I made like 40 grand from TikTok Shop in 6 months. And guess what? I made all that money from like only 12 videos. So if I were to just make videos and none of them hit, right? That's how it works with social media. If you make videos and none of them hit, and you're like, this isn't working, I'm just digging myself a hole here. But you talk to your peers and they're like, no, you just have to keep going. You're gonna get something. It's gonna happen eventually. You just have to keep going. You have to keep believing. You have to keep posting content. You have to keep doing this. Then guess what happens? Because they've been where you are now and they know how you feel, but they encourage you to keep going, and you keep going, and then guess what? You do it and you hit it and you make the money and you go viral and whatever. Right? But if you were to be like, oh no, I'm just digging myself a hole here, and then you quit, you would have never gotten there. So these certain circumstances and situations you have to come to people with, and you have to look at it. You have to remove yourself, take a 30,000 foot view, go up in the sky, look at your situation outside of yourself, get out of your head, and get outside input as well from other people, outside perspective. So then you can decide when to stop and when to keep going. And if someone who is just like you and who is telling you to keep going and they're doing the same thing that you are and they made it, guess what? That's proof of concept. That means you can make it too. And 99% of the time that means you are in the situation of you are just digging and you're just a few feet from diamonds, just a few feet from gold. And that's the case that most of us are in. Most of us are not in a hole that we keep digging ourselves. It's just not the case. I would argue 95% of the time, when you're doing something, and you know it's the right thing and you know it's what you're called for, it's just going to take time. And we're so impatient, and then we trick ourselves into thinking, oh, we're just digging a hole and then I'm going to give up. And that's the downfall. So, that's how you tell when do you stop and when do you keep going. So I hope that answered that for you, and I hope that helps some people. All right, we'll see you on the next one.